We're gonna move on because I don't want to talk about insurance. This category is usually $0, but this month it was almost $500. Hi, and welcome back to Veggies by EOS. As you can tell from the title, this video is going to be just about my October budget from 2020. And before I even start, there were a lot of emergencies this month, so not a normal month. I know literally every single YouTuber that makes this video says, oh, this isn't a normal week or this isn't a normal month, but like, no, seriously, this is not a normal month. But I'm gonna go ahead and take you through it anyway. I do have some pie charts I made, and I'll go ahead and put them on the screen as well so you can actually read them. But basically, I'm just going to go through my spending, what I spent money on, all the different categories, and I'm calling this Millennial money because I am a millennial. One thing to note just before we get started, I am currently in grad school. I only work 3 days a week at Domino's Pizza as a delivery driver. And before going to grad school, I did teach for a few years, so I do have a nice chunk of money saved up in my savings that I can pull from, which I needed to pull from a lot this month, let's just say that. But that's another thing I'm going to talk about. I am going to talk about what my income for this month was versus what I spent, and spoiler alert, what I spent versus what I earned. What I spent was a lot higher this month. Thankfully, I do have that cushion in my savings from teaching, so in case you're wondering like how did you pay for this, looks like Kaya's bored because we're talking about money today. I think I'll get started with my income just because that's not going to take very long. This is how the video is going to go. I'll talk about my income, I will talk about all my expenses including the emergencies, and I'll show you a pie chart of like with the emergencies and without the emergencies, so like an actual what did I spend in October versus what like is more normal because, you know, just taking out the emergencies. After that, I actually did vlog for a few days during this, but I feel like most of you probably just want to hear all the money, like all the numbers and all that information, don't really care about the vlog. So I am going to include the vlog. I'm going to put that at the very end of the video. But yeah, if you just care about the numbers, here we are. Here is the numbers of what I made. I have like all of my information on my phone. Working at Domino's in the month of October, I made a total of $1,072.53. I would say that's pretty average. Honestly, I feel like some of the tips, I mean, because as a delivery driver, you mainly rely on tips. And I will say, tips this past month seemed lower. Oh, by the way, I'm wearing an orange shirt for Halloween, even though it was like a week ago. It really depends on the month, so do I get this exact amount every month? No, but I will say it is generally around $1,000. Two other sources of income. One is interest. I have Ally Bank, so if you have a bank like Chase that doesn't give you any interest, you should cancel it and get a bank that actually gives you interest. So I actually made $18.21 just in interest, just by having my money sitting there. So I figured I would include that in my income because, I mean, that's money I earned. And the last way I earned income this month was by doing one WAG walk, which was $12. One just randomly popped up, so that's not normal, but it was income I made this month, so I figured I'd include that. So my total income for the month, I will put right here, was $1,103. And for all of my categories, like I put the exact price of everything, but then for the final category, once I added it all up, I'm just rounding so that we don't have to deal with like 3 pennies. You will see how I spent way more than that, literally more than double. So you're in for a ride for this video. This right here is my pie chart of everything I've spent. I'll put it on the screen because I'm sure you can't read it. I'm so sorry the lighting is so bad. Here is the pie chart of everything I've spent in the month, and as you can see, this shows both the percentages and like the total amount of money. So I'm just going to go in order. I have the order on my phone, and my phone actually has like every single expense from each category, so obviously I won't go through every single expense, but I'll just talk a little bit about each category. Starting with the purple, so that is groceries and household. So I will say, I do want to do this video again eventually in the future. I'm definitely going to split up this category because this is literally like everything and anything in the grocery store, all drugstores, everything like that, supplements, everything. This is kind of a big category, and I definitely usually do not spend $418 on this category, but a couple of the things I wrote down that I spent. I bought protein powder this month, which should last me about 3 months. so that was expensive. I went to a farmer's market a few times, and I feel like some items from farmer's markets are just more expensive than they need to be, so I spent way too much money there. I also happened to buy matcha this month, and that will last me 6 months. So just the protein powder and matcha, that usually doesn't happen. Both of those things will last me a very long time, so that's part of the reason why it's so high. I also stocked up on soaps. I've been buying soaps, like hand soaps, from a girl on Etsy. I linked her in my last video. I can link her in this video too, because I really like her stuff, and she has a coupon code. I think it's 30% off. So I like, her prices are good to begin with. Like, seriously, check her out. She's awesome. Just, you know, stuff like that, like stocking up on stuff, toilet paper, and then just like the whole drugstore. I forgot like what I purchased from drugstores, but I know I went to CVS at least once, and you know, CVS can be expensive, so I should really just make a category for just food and then like other stuff like the drugstore. But one other reason why this category was so high this month was I actually got a coupon from Sprouts that was $10 off if you spend $75, which I was like, well, I don't really need to spend $75, but that's like a really good deal, so I can stock up on stuff. So that's what I did. I went ahead and stocked up on stuff. I also found a bunch of new vegan products to try, and usually I'll buy like 1 or 2 new things every time I go to Sprouts. But this trip I got like a lot of new things, and they were all vegan, they were all expensive, so I ended up spending $90, and that was after the $10 off, so I was a little embarrassed about that. The next category is light blue, and this is food, as in like going out to eat, and boba, and this is way too high, so I know that that's a problem. It was a lot in the beginning of the month, and then I realized how much I was spending, and then near the end of the month it became pretty much nothing. So I'm at least glad about that. And I know some people spend way more on this category, so I feel like it's not horrible, but it's definitely not good, and I've realized that. Like one example is I used to get smoothies every Friday, and they are actually, if you get the protein ones, they're $6. Then with tax it's $6.50, and I mean $6.50 every single week adds up, so I actually stopped doing that as frequently because I literally used to go every single week, on top of like buying boba drinks and just, you know, getting takeout and all that. So I've definitely gotten better at this so far, but that's still way too much money. Hopefully next time I do one of these videos, that number will be lower. Also, part of that includes tip, you know, going to people, but still, the number is still way too high. The next category is orange, and as you can see, that it's a very small sliver. So that is gas I spend on my car. This month I went a total of 3 times to the gas station, and it ended up costing $71 total. Considering I'm a delivery driver, I don't think that's bad at all. I remember when I first got a car, gas in Chicago was like almost $5 a gallon, and I spent $50 on gas every single week, so this category would have been closer to $200 back then. The next category on here is dark green, and it is $410 for rent, so that is just my portion of the rent. I do have roommates, so that's why it's not insanely high. The next portion is dark blue, and this is $190, and this is just reoccurring bills. I actually did write out all of the bills, so I guess I might as well tell you them. So internet, which I split with roommates, is $21. Gas, which I split with roommates, is $12. Electric, which I split this month particular, it was $60.94. My phone bill, which my phone bill does include paying off this phone. I got this phone last November, so including the bill and paying off the phone is $56.40. I am on a family plan with my sister, so that's why that's not like crazy. Netflix split with my sister is $6.50. YouTube Premium is $12, and in my opinion, YouTube Premium is totally worth it. I watch a ton of YouTube. I listen to music like for both school and for pleasure with YouTube. Like, in my opinion, the best $12 you can spend a month. And then the last thing that is part of bills is Adobe Creative Cloud, which is $21.24. And I will say that's really, really expensive. When I first started paying for Adobe, I was splitting it with someone, so it was only like $11 a month. So I was like, oh, that's not that bad. But now I'm used to editing my videos on Premiere Pro, so I don't really want to get rid of it. So I'm not really sure what to do. So I will say that's the one thing that I could maybe quit, but I don't know. The next thing is light green, and it is insurance, and this category kind of makes me mad. But anyway, my car insurance, I actually have a really, really great deal. I only pay twice a year, and I did the calculation of how much do I pay a month, and it comes out to $54.34 a month for car insurance, which I feel like is really good, although I have a really old car, so it's like the cheapest insurance you can get. I do pay for rental insurance. I don't know if it's necessary, but you never know. So I do pay $11.75 for rental insurance just in case. Because knowing my luck, like the minute I cancel it, something's gonna happen. I feel like having insurance on that isn't the worst idea. And then the rest of the money, so $290.60 goes to health insurance, which apparently that's like normal and average, but that's literally absurd. That's literally ridiculous. I actually just yesterday did a ton of research of trying to find a cheaper rate, and I did find one cheaper rate, but it was like $260, so it was not that much cheaper, and the deductible was like $8,000, so that sounds like there's no point in even having insurance at that point. So I do have insurance through my school, which sucks because my last school I went to, insurance was like $300 a semester, and now it's $300 a month. So I don't know, that's just something I gotta deal with. I was really lucky while I was teaching. I only had to pay about $50 a month for insurance, so I guess it's evening out now. Like before I had really cheap insurance, now I have really expensive insurance, which I know some people pay a lot more than this, so I don't even want to call it really expensive, but like for my income, that is really, really, really expensive. We're gonna move on because I don't want to talk about insurance. The next category is red, and it's other, and as you can tell, that is the smallest sliver on there. Stuff that just didn't fit into any other category I put here. This included the post office, a few car washes, which I go to a place where car washes are like $2, but still, I included it. I did make a couple of donations, and then I had $12 that I just literally don't remember what it was for. So that is my other category. It came out to $47. The next two categories are the emergencies I was talking about, and as you can tell, just looking at the graph, like they are taking up a nice chunk, like at least 30% of what I spent in the month, and so this is stuff that usually doesn't happen, but just happened to happen this month. Starting with the medical, which is the gray, $492. This was mainly TMJ stuff. Long story short, I have a whole video on this, so I'm not even gonna go into it. I'll link the video below. I spent a lot of money on a dental mouth guard when in reality the one from CVS works just fine. This category is usually $0, but this month it was almost $500. And then the next category that is usually, well, so my next category is Kaya, which, this is Kaya, she's sleeping. The $355, as you can see on the chart, that is all vet bills. And this was actually an interesting month because things that I do buy for her every month is like food, obviously. She does need glucosamine pills, so I buy those for her. She really likes greenies, so I buy her greenies. A couple other things, you know, just normal dog stuff. I usually buy that stuff like once every other month, and it just so happened to be that I didn't buy any of that in October because I just bought it at the end of September. So none of this money is like food or treats or her pill or anything like that. All of this money on here is actually just the vet bill. So we went to the vet twice. She got really sick. She's doing a lot better now, thankfully. I'm glad that she was able to get better, but obviously $355 is a lot of money. I will say this category is not usually $0, but it's usually closer to maybe 60, 70. I'd have to like do the math. Maybe 80, I don't know. But yeah, definitely less than 100. And as you can tell, it was 355 for this month. So that was the entire pie chart. I did want to show another pie chart. I went ahead and did it without the vet or medical. And like I said, usually Kaya will, like, I'll buy food or whatever. Like, I'm buying food for her in a couple days because she's running kind of low. But looking at this, I think this is a much more realistic of what I spend in a month. So I'll just go ahead and give you the prices because I calculated the totals, obviously. So my total, go back to the other pie chart, my like complete total with everything, all the medical stuff, all the emergencies, was $2,463. Which is crazy. I don't know how that happened, but like I said, a couple emergencies. Which is funny because like some YouTubers who live in LA, Kaya, what are you doing? Like, you know, they'll do like what I spent in a week, and they'll spend like $2,000 in a week, and I'm just like, what? Actually, I think some of them spend $2,000 a day. I don't even know. So, okay, so I'm not doing that bad, but still doing pretty bad. I also went ahead and did my total, so bringing back the pie chart that is like kind of more normal, like without the emergencies, because emergencies don't happen that often. So my more normal, what I spent was $1,616, which still seems like kind of a lot of money. I mean, that is a lot of money. I also calculated just what like my overhead expense, so like, you know, just like bills and rent basically, and that is $957. And the problem with it is that insurance is just so expensive. Like, I've never in my life paid this much for insurance, so that's just a very new concept to me. My overall takeaway is the amount of money I'm making is pretty similar to my overhead expenses, which is not good. But like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I do have some money in my savings that I can pull from, so that's good. This video has made me realize I'm kind of a hot mess in terms of my finances. But one other thing I was going to mention is you'll notice there wasn't a category for clothes. Although I guess if I would have purchased clothes, that would have just gone in other. I really don't buy clothes. It was my New Year's resolution in 2019 to like stop buying clothes, and like I still buy them once in a while, but I really cut back on how often I buy clothes, both last year and this year, and I'm gonna continue to keep trying to do that. I mean, cause some YouTubers, you know, that like live in LA and stuff and have thousands of dollars to spend on clothes, some of their what I spent in a week videos include like $300 on clothes. Like I'm sure you've seen them. I have seen more than one video where a YouTuber's like, yeah, I just spent like $200 or $300 on clothes. So that's the one good thing about my spending. None of it was on clothes, which is good. Other than that, I would say, bringing back the one without the emergencies, I would say that this is pretty average. Well, besides the whole grocery, like I explained earlier, the groceries are definitely usually way lower than that. The other big takeaway from this video is you have to include, sorry, I'm like petting Kaya, she's laying down. You do have to include and account for emergencies because they do happen. This month it just happened to be that my TMJ and all the Kaya stuff, Kaya getting sick, that all happened to happen in 1 month. You kind of have to have money saved up in case something like that happens. The only other emergencies I can think of that have happened to me in like the past year is I've had a ton of issues go wrong with my car. So thankfully this month, all I spent on my car was $71 on gas and like about $6 or something like that on a car wash. I had some months in the past year where that orange category, like spending money on my car, was $1,000. I've had a lot of issues go wrong with my car. Granted, it is a 2003, so things are gonna go wrong with it, and I'd rather have an old car that has a couple things go wrong with it than be paying, you know, tons of money a month on a new car, but that's just me. So I am very thankful nothing happened to my car this month. Hopefully nothing happens to my car in November or December, but that's just something to think about, you know, if you're trying to budget or trying to use this kind of format for budgeting, you do have to factor in literally anything that can go wrong. Something can go wrong with you, your car, your animal. And like I said, I do want to do this again for a more normal month, just because this month like was not normal at all. Expect another video like this in the future, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Day one, already spent $500. Well, $460, but just spent $460 on a piece of plastic that's gonna go in my mouth because apparently I have TMJ. So hopefully the rest of the month goes smooth. I just had to share that with you guys. I just spent $500 on this. Hopefully it helps. I figured I would film a 1 week update just because, I mean, I wasn't originally planning on filming any updates. I was just gonna like get straight to all the statistics and all that. But I just have to say, like, I know every single YouTuber that makes these videos is like, oh, this isn't an average week, I spent way more than normal. It's true though. This isn't an man. Like, I spent so much money. This is 1 weekend. Today, what's the day today? Today is October 7th, so it's been about a week, and I'm almost embarrassed. Like, I almost don't even want to make this video anymore because of how much money I spent. And part of it was like medical kind of emergency, so part of it was I literally spent $460 on this, which is stupid. It honestly doesn't even fit right in this
annoying. And long story short, I have TMJ and it fixed itself without even using the night guard. So I'm like, why did I just drop $500 on that when it healed on its own? So I'm a little frustrated. I'm more than a little frustrated about that. I'm really frustrated about that. Didn't know it was going to heal on its own without purchasing the night guard. I've also spent a lot, like, okay, I happen to run out of matcha and protein powder. Well, I haven't run out yet, but they're like super low, like to the point where I need to repurchase them. Of course that happens at the same time. So I just spent $30 on protein powder, $30 on matcha. So that's a lot of money going in so my grocery spending is going to be a lot higher than normal just because of that, which, I mean, the nice thing is it's gonna last me a while, but I'm like, that's annoying that now it looks like I'm spending like a ton of money on groceries when I usually don't spend that much. I've also spent a ton of money on drinks. Like, I used to try to limit myself to one boba drink a week, and then kind of recently I started getting a little bit, let's just say I started going about twice a week, and already it's been 1 week into October, and I think I've gone 3 times. Yeah, I'd have to double check, but I think I've gone 3 times in the past week, which 2 of the times were because my favorite matcha place is actually right by the dentist I went to for all of this stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna go get a matcha since I'm over here, because it's kind of far from my house. It's like a 12-minute drive from my house, so I'm not gonna like just get up and go there randomly. I only go there when I'm like out doing something and I'm near it. So that was my excuse for 2 of the times, but like I didn't need to go both times. I also got a shake at a place that was right by the dentist, because I've been to the dentist I think 3 times now in the past week for all this stuff with my TMJ. But I didn't have to get a shake there. Like, I literally just got it because it was like pretty much right next to the dentist, and I was like, I never come up here, might as well try a shake from this place. I didn't need to do that. See, and again, going off the whole, I usually don't spend this much. I mean, I genuinely usually don't, but like, I didn't need to spend that. And then guess what I got last night after work? I got ice cream, because I haven't got ice cream from my favorite ice cream place in honestly maybe a month, I don't know. But I didn't need to get the ice cream, so I've been spending so much money, and like, I really need to try to be better about my spending, but I also don't want to necessarily like consciously spend a lot less than normal just for the video. Like, I want it to be like a real month in my life of spending. I spend way too much money on boba, so I am for sure like no more than once a week, like from this day forward, no more boba more than once a week. Like, that is ridiculous. I don't even need to go once a week. That's ridiculous. Like, boba is expensive. It's so good though, but boba is expensive. So yeah, that's just an update. Like, week 1 was crazy, so I'm sorry. Like, I genuinely do feel like this is more than I normally spend in a month, but maybe at the end of the month it'll even out. I guess we'll see. Well, part 2 of coming at you in the parking lot of the dentist, where I've been getting this is the 4th time I've been here. I still don't think my thing, whatever it's called, my night guard thing, I still don't think it fits correctly. My TMJ doesn't even hurt anymore. Like, the night guard is causing me more pain than my TMJ, and I'm not gonna rant, so I'm sorry. But just one thing I wanted to add, like, I'm about to like go to CVS right now because I need a couple things, which I'm just putting stuff like that in like the grocery category, because like I don't like grocery and household, I'm just putting that all into one category. But I realized why I spent more like on drinks last week than I usually do, because I usually only go out to like run errands once a week. You know, it depends on the week. Sometimes I go twice, but usually I only go once. And like I said, so this is the 4th time I've been here in the past week, and it's by my favorite matcha place. It's right by a cool dessert place. So like, since I was out, I was like, oh, I want to go get something since I'm out. And usually that's fine, because usually I only like go out to go run errands once a week, and like buying a matcha once a week isn't a big deal. So that's why I spent so much in week 1, because I keep going to the dentist, which is so frustrating. Guys, I'm so frustrated. Anyway, I want to get a matcha. I already made my own matcha today. Not gonna do that, but I am gonna stop by CVS. I am now at CVS. The dentist ladies like came out while I was talking to my camera, which is really awkward. I hope they didn't overhear me saying that I was extremely dissatisfied with their service, but I am. I'm just so mad I spent $500 on a thing for my mouth that is causing more pain than what it's supposed to be preventing. That's my only complaint.